dishwasher is going, and so I don't know if it's loud. So if it's loud, let me know, and then I'll just stop it really quick. I will stop it really quick. Hello, everyone. I'll give everybody a few seconds to come on in. I had high hopes this morning when I got ready to get out in the garden, and I was laying in bed and I kept hearing something, and I was like, that sounds like rain. That sounds like rain. So it has been raining all day. Today it stopped for a few seconds, but it looks like it's going to rain again. But that's okay. That just means that the garden is being watered, which is something that I needed to do as well. So I'm going to give everybody a few more seconds. We're streaming live over on YouTube as well as Instagram. So if you all see me look in two ways, that's why, because we are dual streaming here on two different devices. And so while everybody's coming in, I want to just go over a few housekeeping rules. If you didn't get a chance to watch the Fridays live, go back and watch it. But we have a new 10 digit. We have to do a 10 digit number for texting now. So if you know anyone who wants to grow, thinking about growing, started a conversation with you about growing, make sure not only do you but like and share this video as well. If you want to be on the text message list to when we go live, when we have specials, when we're doing giveaways, when we have gardening tips, text the word, I mean, not the word, yeah, text the word Let's Grow, LETSGROW, to 912-430-2700. Let me see if I can put it in the comments down here. So it's the word Let's Grow to 912-430-2700. Now, if you're already on our text message list, you do not need to do this. You're already converted over and everything, so you don't have to do it. But if it's anyone new that wants to be notified, then you will have to text this entire number, 912-430-2700. As you see, I'm still looking over because I haven't memorized it yet. Not quite yet. It took me the longest to memorize my own cell number for the longest. But let me see if I can put it in the chat here over on, we'll put it in the chat here over on YouTube as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I thought this was very important. We did get a chance to do some things over the weekend, but I thought it was very important to discuss some ways to grow onions. And the reason why I'm doing that is because, hold on, y'all, let me put it in the chat on YouTube, but I have to get on my laptop. I tell you, I know it's an easier way to do half of this stuff, but this is just the way I know. And until I find out something different, I guess I just have to do it this way. So y'all hold on one second. I just want to get it in the chat over on YouTube, and we'll pin it at the top. So if you come in, then that way you'll be able to text that number to get on our text message list. So let me go ahead and get started. The good thing is we got a lot of things planted in the ground in our raised beds this weekend. I did a video on it, so if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to it after the live, because I just want to take you all along on like the process of the things that we do in the garden so that we can all help each other to grow a strong, healthy, and flourishing garden. Now, as I was planting these things, I came across an article. You know how the internet just put things in your face, and so I clicked on it, and they actually had an onion recall. They had a recall on red, yellow, and white onions, and it's in several states. So I thought to myself, okay, we're planting onions. Maybe I need to plant more, but just I want to go over a few tips, 4 ways to plant onions. Not only that, but it's a few tips that I've learned along the way to growing onions, because a lot of people have told me in the past that they have a hard time getting their onions to bulb up to a good size. Hello, New Art Gardener. How are you? Hello, Yankee Sister. How are you? So I want to go over that as well. So hopefully it can help. These tips that I've shared, it has helped people better to grow bigger onions. So first, let's talk about the different ways that you can grow onions. But this is what I want to um, really get y'all to think about because we're in all different parts of the world. The first thing I want you to determine is, are you in an area where you need to be growing short day onions, long day onions, or intermediate day onions? And the reason why I say that is because it all has something to do with the amount of light that we receive. So me being in Georgia zone 8B, we have to grow short day onions. Now, it's not to say that you can't grow the other ones, but I have noticed a difference when in the size of the bulb of the onions. And I've just noticed a difference overall that short day onions is what I need to grow for my particular growing zone. And you can do this really quick by just doing a quick Google search. And that's what I found out. So first determine if it's best for you to be growing short day, intermediate day, or long day onions. And all of this has something to do with the amount of light that we receive in those areas. Now, the first way, if you want to really kind of broaden your collection of onions and not just get, what we see at the grocery store, then the first way you could do it is you can start onions from seeds. We do a lot of onion from seeds because, and if you looked at the thumbnail on YouTube, this is one of my favorite ones to grow. It's a white Creole onion that's from Baker Creek. But it just gives you more, when you start from seeds, it just gives you more flexibility of what you can grow. We also grow like shallots from seeds as well. And then different types of red onions that you just don't see in the grocery store. So again, it just all depends on, I really like trying new things that I don't normally see in my area. So that's why I like starting onions from seeds. But remember, you have to start them at the right time. We do have a Seed Starting Masterclass. I'll put it in the description on YouTube, and it's the link in my bio on Instagram. Now, the next thing that I do, and I really like doing this, if you have like a local feed store in your area, a lot of times they will have little onion sets inside of in about a quantity of 50 or 100. And when I say little onion sets, like the way they're done here for our area, so they have like a big oak barrel. And so they have some soil in there, and they really look like the starting of green onions. They're smaller, but they're still alive. They have good root growth on it. And some of the local farmers sell them to the feed store. And the reason why I like buying them this way is because these are local farmers. So these onions have already been grown in this area. They're acclimated to this area. And seriously, all you have to do is just go and, take a pen, take a pencil, take something, stick them in the hole and just cover them up. Now, these are found at the local feed store, and they're like local farmers that start them, and then, it just gives you a jump start. As opposed to starting seeds. But I really like buying them. I actually bought a 50 set, and I got 50 sets of onions starts for $5. They're $5 here. But they might come in 25 sets, 50 sets, 75 or 100 sets. But that's another great way. Like if you haven't started seeds inside in time or outside, you can do that way as well. The next one I see a lot during the spring is those dried onion bulbs that we find at our like local garden centers. So normally they'll have red, white, and yellow, and you can start those. You're pretty much just planting them at the right depth, and then in a few weeks you'll start seeing, the green emerge, and you can start growing onions that way. So they have those. And then also in the spring, they have at your local garden center, like the transplants. And that's a great way to get a jump start as well. And a lot of them send the types of onions that you need for your different area. Um, because for us, we're not too far from Vidalia, Georgia. So the local garden center during the spring, they'll get a lot of Vidalia onion sets. But for me personally, I start my onions in the fall and I let them overwinter, just so they can establish good root growth on them. And then they're growing, they're still growing, but then when the spring hits, they're already established. And so then that's when I go in and I really get started with what I'm going to tell you in just a few seconds. You know what, Yankee sister? A lady at the garden center. So the question was, are onions set second year onions? And a lady at the garden center did tell me that most of the time they were the second year, because onions are a biennial. So that's why I like to start them in the fall and then let them overwinter and then come back and really, start nurturing them once they really start getting on the growth. And let me tell you another way that I've seen a lot of people grow onions. So if you like green onions, like a lot of people will get, green onions from the produce section. They'll cut off what they need and they'll leave a little bit and they'll leave that root at the bottom of the green onion, and they will take it, they will put it in soil, and then the green onion will start to grow again. Because if you've ever done like me, I don't know, I might be the only one. There have been times where maybe an onion has fell over in the pantry, and after like a couple of months or something, like it hasn't started smelling, but some onions you will see they'll start to grow that green stalk up again. But I know a lot of people who have taken the green onions, and this is like a good project also to try, even if you have kids. They take the green onion, they use what they need, they save that little bit in that root, and then they will put it in some soil and let it grow back up. That's also another way to like keep the onions coming. So those are really 5 ways that you can start onions. So if you're just joining us, there was a recall on the onions, and so that just made me want to grow even more. Because what I will tell y'all is, I noticed yesterday I use onions quite a bit in my cooking, like a lot. And so I also make onion powder as well. Once we have, picked the onions, we've harvested the onions, we let them cure for about 2 weeks. And then, like, I'll take it and put some in the dehydrator and make like my own onion powder as well. But some ways that you can start growing onions yourself are from seeds, because that way you will have, I mean, you can grow shallots, you can grow red onions. I think it was another type of onion that I got from M.I. Gardner that it was like red. It was something different, but they looked, I need to stop doing that. They looked pretty. It was like a red, but the shape of them was really different. And so I said, let me grow them. So I'm typing something in, y'all, really quick. I was going to try to give you the name, but I don't want to. I don't want to waste too much of your time. And I was hoping I can find them, but I knew that they were from M.I. Gardner, and they were like red, and they were really nice. And this always happens, so don't y'all worry. It always happens when I'm looking for something. I have seeds seriously like lined up, being ready to plant right now, and that's what I was going to do today. But it rained, but I'm not complaining about the rain, because there were a lot of containers that I needed to water as well. I've never grown. Oh, you're so welcome, New Art Gardener. You will love. I really feel like when you start growing onions, you will love it. I always tell people that the taste to me is different. I notice that the taste, like when I grow my own, it's like pungent. It's like a pungent I don't know. It's good, and I like growing different ones, like the red ones. And here's one. This is not the one I'm talking about, but this is like a cipollini onion, so it's like a flat onions, but they're different tastes. You know, just like in everything else, is different tastes that we have. But this is what I wanted to share with y'all really quick because a lot of people used to tell me that the onions start to grow, they look beautiful, but they have a problem with them bulbing. Now, we did a video on it in YouTube, but I want to go over it here to let you know. I'm not saying this is like the way to do it, but I've noticed over the years when I do this, we get beautiful bulbs, and I'm talking about the size onions you see at the grocery store. They're really nice. So, okay, so I'll go ahead and I plant them, right? So maybe a few weeks later, we'll say 3 or 4 weeks, what I do is I will come in. Now, okay, so let's go back to step one. I've already prepped my soil with whatever the soil test said for me to do it. So we got our soil prepped and we plant the onions. So I'll give them a few weeks to start growing. Then I'm going to come in with bone meal. Bone meal, organic bone meal. You can use that in things like tulips. I use it on my garlic and I use it on my onions because what they do is when you think about like tulip bulbs, you want those bulbs, just think about bulbs. So they get down in the soil and they're going to start helping the soil, helping the onions to get those bulbs on there, like really grow. So I use bone meal a few weeks after I've planted it. Okay. Then I let them grow. We're watering, we're checking for pests, we're doing all of this good stuff as we're growing. But once I see them start to bulb up, I'll go in. Now, a lot of Southerners use this term. I don't know. I've started using it too. It's called ringing it. Ringing it, like ringing of the phone, ringing it. So I have a old butter knife that I've used and I've kind of bent over. So once it starts to bulb up, I'll take the soil, and I know I'm gonna need to do a new video about it, but we do have one up on YouTube, and just kind of go in a circle around that area to kind of expose the bulb a little bit, so that way it could start growing out. So I go around the bulb and I just call ringing it, and it's just like a little butter knife, or you can use your hand if you want to, but I take that and I do that and I let it start getting bigger. Now, a lot of times, like I said, okay, spooning. Okay, I've heard it called spooning also. Okay, Yankee sister. So yeah, it's different terms for it. So I just go around the bulb once it starts to grow and just kind of expose it just a little bit. Now, again, we let ours overwinter, but a lot of people start them in spring and you'll be just fine as well. So then what I'll do is they'll overwinter. I'm still watching everything. But a lot of times when it starts to get spring again, I'm going to go back in with some more bone meal and I'm going to feed the soil around it because the bone meal is going to help those onions like bulb up. That's what it's going to help them do. So it's not really a secret, but those are the way that I do it so that I can have nice size onions. And then once I am done with that, a lot of times the onion will just continue to grow. And what we will do is when I see the tops start to flop over, that is when I harvest my onions and I let them dry in a covered place outside. We use our patio outside. I let them dry, and then for about 2 weeks because I'm just really letting the tops get dry. So once the tops are good and dried out, then I will cut them back and I'll bring them in and put them like in our onion storage. And then I'll also take some and make like a little, a thing of onion powder with it as well because it's fresh and it smells so good. I'm telling y'all, you will love it. Curious how much room you leave between the onions. So I've planted the onions that I just planted out this weekend. It's about 6 to 8, I would say more 8 inches, about 8 inches apart is what I've planted these onions out this weekend. Now, when I plant shallots or some of the smaller bulbs, I'll probably do like between 4 to 6 inches apart. That's a great question too. But between 6 to 8 for like my bigger ones, more on the 8 inch side. And then for the shallots, we will do about 4 to 6 inches. Now, the bunching onions, we do about 6 inches apart. And the bunching onions are basically your green onions that will grow. But what I do is I put maybe, like we started some from seed. I don't want to run outside and get them because they're next up to be planted. Well, we planted some from seeds. And so the bunching onions, I'll put about maybe 8 seeds per cell tray. And they've all germinated very beautifully. So we're just going to plant them outside, probably about 6 to 8 inches apart. Now, the reason why I say 6 to 8 inches apart, because sometimes I stagger mine. So I'll do, so that I can get more in. So I'll do like a row, and then I'll come in maybe, so let me just use this as an example. So if they're supposed to be 8 inches apart, so I'll do 8 inches apart, one row, but then I'll come in like 6 inches, and then I'll kind of stagger them to where they're not like in a like straight rows, but they're staggered. So kind of like in between the other way. I'm going to see if I can draw it. I don't know if I could draw it, but I just stagger them so they're like in between the other plants, but maybe like 6 inches apart as opposed to the 8, so I can try to get a little bit more in and do more with less, because I know we're all like, trying to grow with as much space as we have. I think my problem the last time I grew bulbing onions from seeds was that I planted it too deep. And let me tell you, Yankee sister, when I do the plant from seed zigzag, thank you, new art gardener. Yeah, it's kind of like a zigzag pattern. Exactly, when you look at it. When I plant my onions from seed, I actually soil block them. I do. I soil block them because they're tiny, like you said, and then you don't want to plant them too deep. So I always soil block them, then I'll take them outside and harden them off. That's how I've gotten more better with germination, because I'm telling y'all, I couldn't find my carrot tape yesterday, and I had to direct sow some carrots yesterday. I don't know why I like the carrot tape, because it's just so much easier. And when I direct sow, sometimes I get heavy handed, and I was saying to myself, now you're gonna have to come out here and thin these out some more. You're gonna have to do it. So a lot of things. Now, I don't soil block. I only soil block my onions. I do leafy greens, flowers. Now, like my radishes and my carrots, I do like direct sow them so that I'm not disturbing them once they start to grow. I don't want to disturb them. Yes. And it's okay. It's okay. Creamed red berry, like they'll still grow, but if you plant them too close, they may not be getting the full size that you want them to be. I mean, you could still use them, and they'll still grow. Just the fact that you're growing them, I think, is amazing. And so that's really, I was like, I gotta go live, because onions are fun. They're easy to grow. They taste so much different when you grow your own, and they have a recall. So now, depending on what zone you're in, now might be a great time. Hello, the stay-at-home life. How are you? Now might be a great time for you to go ahead and get them started. But I definitely understand, Yankee sister, about the about the depth of it, because some of the tinier seeds, I don't know, sometimes they get lost, and then some, like the bigger seeds, so it's I like the soil block my my onions. Yes, the stay-at-home life, there has been a recall on onions, so I wanted to really do a live today, because there are 5 ways you can grow onions and still be able to harvest them. Do you plant your bunching onions as they grow, group them themselves? No, I group them, Yankee sister. So I got like maybe 8 in the thing, and I'm just going to group them. And each cell, when I pop them out, I'm just going to do about 6 to 8 inches apart with the bunching onions. And that's how I do that one. I wish I could, I really wish I could run out there, but it's like rain. Y'all hold on. Just hold that thought just a second, because I do want to show you. Hold on just a second. Yes, I needed to go outside because I thought it was raining. I mean, the rain, when you leave them outside, they actually, the rain gets down in there. So I need to pour that off. But this is how I do. These are the bunching onions right here. So it's about 8 per cell tray that are in here. So I'm just going to take each cell tray with, whatever's in here. I'm not going to separate it. And then we'll just plant them out in the garden. So these are the bunching onions, and these are the same ones that people will go to the store and get as well. And they will, cut off what they need, and then once they cut off what they need, they will take that root, still intact, and they'll put it back into the soil, and then more bunching onions will come up, and you can just continue to use that. I think that's a great way. I've seen people do it with onions, with celery, just to continue to grow. And like I said, it's a great way, especially if you have kids or grandkids, it's a great way to, kind of get them involved too, just to see how it's grown. What varieties of onions have you had most success in getting big bulbs? I love growing onions, but bulbs are always small. Jen, that's why once I figured out that I needed to grow short day onions for my area, like all of these are what's considered short day onions. If you want to grow like a different variety, like for us, they're Vidalia onions, and they have one called, it's like similar to Vidalia onions, but it's called the Texas Early Grano onions as well. These do great. So the main thing you want to do is you want to figure out where you're at. Should you be growing short day onions, intermediate day onions, or long day onions? Because I've grown onions in the past and I was just like that. Like they would bulb, but they just wouldn't get big enough. And so I started doing research. I started talking to some of the people around here. And once I found that feed store that's up the street for us, and really got to talking to them, because they're coming from the farmers who grow them literally like maybe 10-15 miles up the road in their fields. That's when I started having, it's like between night and day, I started having so much luck with my onions, like really getting nice bulbs. That and the bone meal, I would say. And like Yankee Sister say, spooning it is what they call it, ringing it, just kind of exposing that bulb a little bit. Once it starts bulbing up, I've had a whole bunch of luck with that. But first thing, find out which type that you did. And just like Yankee Sister just said, hers is long day onions. So the northern zones, and I think you're absolutely right, Yankee Sister, the northern zones are long day. And it has something to do with the amount of light. Because I told y'all about when I went to New York, it was almost 10 o'clock and it was still light outside. And here 10 o'clock is like black dark, it's no light outside. And it has something to do with the amount of light, the hours during the day. So we're short day, so we grow the short day onions. So if you're just joining us, thank you all so much for joining us. I just wanted to give you a little recap and just encourage you to, and it doesn't have to be onions, but this article just came up on my phone where they had recalled onions, red, yellow, white, and I was just like, why? Let's grow some. You don't have to grow a lot. Now I grow a lot because I'm serious. When I think about it, just about every day I use an onion. I just bought like 10 pounds of onions yesterday at the store, because I'm always sauteing onions and mushrooms or some type of vegetables. Like I'll saute it and put it in there. With the onions that we grow, once they're ready, we'll make onion powder with them. We will, and store them. But I do use a lot of onions, and I do use a lot of garlic as well. Our garlic is still in the refrigerator, simulating that cold zone, but hopefully mid-November is when we will get them planted and put out. And to be honest, the way I just explained, now I don't expose my garlic bulbs, but the I do use the bone meal with my garlic to give them bigger bulbs. And it gets kind of tricky. Just like with onions, garlic, you have to find one that is good for your zone. So I particularly grow garlic that's good for southern zones, just because we don't get a cold enough period. And so I have to put them in the refrigerator to simulate winter long enough so that I can get some good bulbs like the next season when it is time to harvest them. So, okay, so we're just going to wrap it up. Yes, Jewel, I hope you will try to grow some onions. Yes, the hardneck. You grow, okay, so Northern, you do the hardneck. What was the recall? I ordered bulbs that are late. The recall, it gave out the farms that it was grown on, Homestead in the Hoods. Let me see if I can find it. So it gave out like maybe 2 or 3 different farms where the onions were grown. I think they've maybe have been sent out to about 37 states. It gave the farm name. Hold on. This was on the 21st of October that they had the recall. I'm trying to type without moving y'all so much. You are so welcome, cream red cream red berry. Thank you so much. Let me tell you, a lot of people tell me about my nails, but I promise you it's DNA. I always tell people it's just DNA. I do absolutely nothing to them. I had to like break one off because it was nicking everything. But yeah, it was a salmonella outbreak with this whole fresh onions, October 2021. So they had a lot of them were grown on farms from Mexico, is what I'm reading really quick as I scroll up. But if you Google it, they have the different brands on there, and then where they were from. But it looks like a couple of the farms were in Mexico. So that's a great way for us to like grow our onions right here. Yeah, they are heavy. They're heavy feeders. Yeah, that's why I say I feed like that bone meal. I feed them with the bone meal. I would say over the growing season, like I may just, like we still do our maintenance of, the liquid fertilizer and then the dry release, but the bone meal by itself, I'll probably come in at least 3 times during that growing season of the onions and hit them with just like the straight bone meal so that I can get those nice bulbs. Okay, bulbs that are late. Okay. Yes, but yeah, that's a good reason that we need to start growing garlic, y'all. I mean, not garlic. Well, we need to start growing garlic too, but onions, a great way to grow onions, and then grow some other types of onions too that you haven't. Y'all see how excited I get? Grow some other type of onions too that you don't normally see at your local produce center. So, just to recap again, thank you all so much for joining us. So it's 5 ways that you can grow onions. The first thing I want y'all to make sure you do is to look up, based on where you're at, do I need to be growing long day, intermediate day, short day? That's the first thing. And then remember the Seed Starting Masterclass if you're going to start them from seed, because you want to start them at the right time. I tell y'all, just because I'm starting some things, it may not be time where you're at. You may have to wait a little bit or, something like that. So always make sure you start seeds. So seeds is one way you could do it. So much flexibility in what you can grow. Look for places that are local, like your local, here they call them local feed and seed store, where they have the onion sets. Thank you so much, Yankee Sister, for the super chat. Thank you so much for all of your support and knowledge, because that's what this garden community is about, is like just sharing the knowledge and getting the word out. But check your local feed store, because if you have farmers in that area that grow them in fields, a lot of times they take them to the store and they will sell them. So all you have to do is, they look like little onion, like little bunching onions is what they look like what I just showed, but they're actually onion sets. And all you have to do is just go home, put them in, go ahead, put them in the soil, and you're ready to grow. And they're probably pretty much, if they've been growing in your area, they're already acclimated to your area. So that's a great way to do it. In the spring, I see it at the garden center, a lot of the dried onion bulbs. You can do those. They have the red, the yellow, and the white as well. So you can plant those out and grow onions that way. You can do the transplants, because a lot of times the transplants, they're being ordered based on your area. So they're giving you the varieties that grow good in your area, but you still want to read the tag. You still want to make sure that you're doing the right type of onion for your zone. You are so welcome, Yankee Sister. You know I love doing this. I'm like, well, since it's raining outside, we're going to, do some more research. That's what I love doing. And then lastly, if you want to do like the green onions, you like green onions, you see those at the store, use what you're going to use, leave those roots intact, plant them back in the soil, let them start to grow again. And I just think that's a great thing, like if you have kids or grandkids, to let them do that project. Let them have ownership of that, so that they can be like really excited. They'll be really excited and, have a sense of ownership of what they have grown. Hello, Rainbow Green Hands. How are you doing? So that is all I have for today. Remember, y'all, make sure you like and share this. Let's grow some onions. And then if you know someone who's thinking about starting, get the 5 tips to a flourishing garden ebook on YouTube. I'll put it in the description once the video is rendered. On Instagram, it is in the link in the bio. Yes, garden onions and they're very pungent. It's such a different taste. That's what I tell all of my people who are just thinking about growing. I'm telling y'all, you will not want to grow. I'm really getting sad, because I'm looking at my peppers. And I told y'all, I'm like, wait until the end, because I'm like, dang it, I'm like, what way can I grow it? We have a lot of people who have overwintered them, and they asked me about it, but I would have to get some more space, some more light. I don't know. I'll have to think about doing that. But I'm telling you, it is my garlic. Whoa, the smell. I'm on my last little bit of garlic. And let me just give y'all this tip too. When you start growing, think about how much you use of that, because over the years, as you continue to grow, like onions and garlic, this will help you to realize each year how much you need to plant, so that it could last you during the off season when it's not time to grow. So we still have some garlic bulbs left, but I did go heavy on the garlic. I did. I ran out of onions. I will tell you that. But that's why I said, okay, let me plant some more onions this year, because I use a lot of onions and garlic. So as you continue to grow, based on your family size, you can also estimate how much you need to grow, so that during those off seasons when things are not being grown, then you'll have enough to get you over. I was reading a book. Oh, it was so good, where they were saying, like tomatoes and peppers, how you put them up and you can them. And so during those winter months, you open them up and it's just like you harvested them from the garden. That's the point that I'm trying to get at, where I just grow enough to where, okay, even when they're not in season, I have enough stored to where I can, whether it be dried, you can dehydrate peppers or can them. But that's the point that I'm really trying to work on getting at, to where I still can enjoy the garden even though things are not growing. So just think about that. Yes, yes, Yankee sister. I'm telling you, I am forever, I'm forever reading. I just went, I told my husband yesterday, I said, oh my God, I really spend a lot on books. I just picked up some more books yesterday, more classes. Like, I want to be able to continue to learn so that I can give this knowledge right back to the gardening community, because I just think we all should grow. So I got some more reading to do. I'll probably do that, later on tonight, but it's just, you learn something new every single day. And this is how I've learned over the years, like different tricks, different things. Like, I seriously said yesterday, okay, I need to step it up with making more compost, because I was just peeling carrots yesterday, and we do vermicomposting, and I'm like, okay, it's full. Like, I don't have another one. So I was thinking of a way, like, what type of way do I want to compost? Because y'all know we have our little friends. So do I want to get the enclosed one, or what do I want? But all of that, like, I'm just learning so much, and I think, like I tell people, the main thing with growing is when you focus on building healthy soil. When you get focused on building healthy soil, you will see that things will just start to grow. Pests will you won't have as much problem with pests, because you have that healthy soil. I just think of it as like an immune system. But yeah, I'm always like just trying to get as much knowledge as I can. So again, make sure you like and share this information. Get the downloads on Instagram, and I'll put it in YouTube as well. We also have cool weather vegetables, depending on what zone you're in. Some cool weather vegetables that you could still grow right now. Okay, we got our greens, our leafy greens growing. I think the main thing is just think about what zone you're in, think about how low your zone gets, and then look at the vegetables to see how low it could go. Like, how much cold can it tolerate? Tumbler bins, good for composting too. Lots of room inside. That's exactly what I was thinking about, because remember, I've also told y'all as well, they're trying to get the Christmas stuff out on the shelves. So all of the gardening stuff, this is the time that I look for. And they actually have a turn-in one that you're talking about, the tumbler bins, cream red berry. They also have that on clearance. And I go there every day and I look and I'm like, okay, okay. Sometimes I got to stop myself, because I'm like, you got to get yourself up under control. But composting, if you have the room, is a great way to do it. Whether you vermicompost, we have our scraps with the charcoal filter under our sink where we go and feed the worms. Maybe like once a week, we put brown paper in there. We'll be putting leaves in there. We put, scraps in there. But that's a great way to continue to build your soil as well. Exactly. Immune system. Think of your soil like the immune system. If you start building that healthy soil, you will see a big difference, like in your plant. So if you focus on that, I'm telling you, things will start to grow. Just like your immune system, feature soil, and it will reward you through your gardening journey. So again, thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. Try to grow some onions. And again, if it's not time for you to go during this time now, start thinking about some things that you and your family like, and start just saying, this is what I'm going to grow when the season is right for where I'm at. Just start planning out now. If you want to start growing from seeds, start researching the seeds, getting the seeds, so that you'll be ready when it's time for your season to grow. So thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you, if you have any questions, send me a DM, send me an email, and then we'll talk about it. So until Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, remember, if you want to be notified, text 912-430-2700. Text the word Let's Grow. That'll put you on our email list and you'll be notified. So thank y'all for hanging out with me today, and we'll talk again soon. Bye, y'all, and be safe.